seminars is to kind of get some basics going for you, foundations going for you, so that you can do things on your own. And so today we're going to talk about the foundations of SEO, getting the basics down. A lot about SEO has changed over the years. Matter of fact, it's changed over the last 2 or 3 months. Or what changed
5 minutes ago.
Google just the 15th of this last month rolled out their latest Panda release. The Penguin release just got rolled out last week or something. So you know it happens fast. Fortunately, it's easier than you think to kind of keep up with them. As long as you do one thing, and that's you listen to Google and not all the SEO experts. And I'll do more on that shortly, what I mean by that. Okay, just so we're all on the same page, we're going to come up with a definition, and you probably all know what SEO is, but we're going to make it really clear so that we're all talking about the same thing. Because SEO has changed what it is over the years too. What people called SEO 3 or 4 years ago is now different from what it's called today. So the definition has changed. It's kind of migrated back and forth. So this is the basic definition of SEO that's current in vogue today. It can be defined as a process affecting visibility of web pages or whole sites in search engines' unpaid search results. Well, the keyword's unpaid. Okay. So, if somebody is trying to sell you SEO services and they want you to do the paid ads, they're not doing SEO. They're just doing marketing you. They're marketing you to buy ads. And that's something you go right to Google do. You don't have to hire them to do it. Unless of course you want them to do your ad for you. Whatever, you know, which may be a realistic thing. This activity, and it's an activity, it's not a strategy. SEO is not a strategy at all. It's an activity, it's a thing you do. It requires some of the following structural elements. Website navigation, unique page titles, contact, the way you structure your content, how you present your images to the search engines, and using your desired keywords in the content. Okay? So that you know what you want the search engines to target for, and make sure you present that in your content properly. Our goals today. Understanding search engines. We're going to talk about search engines and what they're trying to do. Because one of the best ways to do SEO is to understand what the search engines are trying to do. Okay? Because you're living in their world. And if you don't understand their world, you're going to be beating your head against the wall. We're going to talk about Panda and Penguin, because that's kind of the big thing right now, so you need to understand those two. We're going to focus largely on on-site foundation of SEO. Back in early SEO, on-site SEO was the only SEO. Okay, now it's kind of bifurcated into 2 parts, on-site SEO and off-site SEO. In my mind, and this is strictly my opinion, off-site SEO is just marketing. Okay, it's promotion of your site. Okay, yes.
Don't know what on-site or off-site means.
Okay, we're going to get to that. On-site means on your website. What's going on in your website, in the pages of your website. Off-site is what you might be doing somewhere else that brings people to your website.
Banner ads or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something you might be doing on some other site in some other place. Okay? So on-site has to do with things you are doing directly to your web pages that you have control of. Okay? We're going to talk about proper expectations, and that's really critical, because if you don't have the right expectations, you're going to get extremely frustrated and angry and all those sorts of things. And that's probably one of the biggest stumbling blocks that most small businesses have with SEO, is not really knowing what to expect. And then we're also going to talk about SEO scams, because sadly, there are a dime a dozen out there. You do a search on SEO scam, you're going to see.
I get these calls all the time from them. I got one this last week from Captain Marketing.
Captain.
I kid you not, Captain Marketing.
Yes. Anyway, they're really out there. So we're going to talk about that. Ways to, things that are considered red flags that you're going to be able to go, oh, that was one of the red flags, clunk, hang up, you know, or whatever, delete the email or whatever, however they tried to get a hold of you. So that's important, that we talk about that. Okay, there are warning labels. Ignorance is not bliss in the SEO world. Keep in mind, say it to yourself many times, SEO is an activity, a process, not a strategy. Sometimes you're going to be trying to sold it to strategy. Somebody's going to do SEO for you for so much a month for the next 5 years. It's not a strategy. Now, if they were selling you marketing and that they did some SEO for you, that would be different. Matter of fact, Google encourages SEO people to change to become what are called web strategists. That's kind of like the buzzword that Google's really trying to promote now, is web strategists, which includes some SEO, marketing, and includes the whole picture. I have a feeling Google would like SEO to be put in its box, in its little space, and focus there. SEO is a competition against others. In other words, you're in a competition with other businesses like yourself. It is not Google's fault that you're not on page 1. It is because you are competing against other businesses for that position, based on Google's algorithms. Sometimes you'll get on these SEO forums and you'll see people slamming Google. Why did they bother? This is Google's game. You know, if you don't want to play the game, you know, take your ball and go home, fine. But I don't see any point in bashing Google about it. Whether Google is right or wrong is irrelevant. It's their ball and it's their playing field. SEO is not instant, and there are no guarantees. The minute somebody says they can guarantee something for you, run as fast as you can in the other direction, because there are no guarantees. Remember, it's a competition, and you don't have any idea what your competitors are doing that is going to make it harder for you to do what you're trying to do. So if you were running a race, you can never guarantee you're going to be first unless you chopped all the legs off of all your competitors. Yes?
What do you mean by it's not a strategy?
It's a physical thing that you do to your website. A strategy is something that you come back to regularly and you can alter the way you approach it. SEO is not a different approach. It's a set, fixed, do A, B, and C, and you've done the activity. Now you may have to do it over and over again. It's kind of like baking bread is not a strategy. Baking bread is putting a recipe together, baking the bread. Now, fine cooking might be more of a strategy, or a restaurant might be more of a strategy where you're presenting different foods. But baking the bread is not a strategy, it's a thing you do.
You mean it like it's a marketing strategy?
A marketing strategy, a business strategy?
It's not.
No. SEO is a task, a set order of tasks that you do for your website to put it in a position where search engines can see you better, use you better, and promote you better. Now there are strategies, and that's where I talked about web strategists. Okay, there are strategies that build off of SEO. Okay. Or the organic in SEO. Natural positions and search results, we're talking about unpaid. They're based solely on indexing content based on algorithms, Google's algorithms, Bing's algorithms, Yahoo's algorithms. They're based on how they want to weigh the various things they see when they come to your website. And then rank you based on all those. You'll hear the word signals. It's like the buzzword. The signals are basically just factors. They're things that they look at, like what's in your content and whether your content is consistent and how much ads you have above the fold or not. These are all called signals, and those are used to rank you. And that ranking then puts you in a certain place in the search engine results. Algorithms who index real content. Basically, what search engines want to do is they want to deliver valuable content to their users. And so they want to measure that value to other users, and they want to measure the quality of that content based on trusted authorities, whether somebody thinks you're that good, and based on how other users respond to your content. Remember, they're looking at you through a computer, not a person. A person doesn't sit way back, way back. I think it was Yahoo and some of those companies used to actually have people that went to websites and looked at it and said, oh, that's pretty good. And they would give them a ranking, and it was a person that did it. But now it's not at all. It's what a computer can see as it sucks in your website. So it gets very, very, it's a very different point of view, what the computer sees versus what a person sees. Okay, this is a slide that I keep coming back to, and most people don't think it's all that important, but I happen to think it's important, so I always have this one slide, and that's web standards. And that is how your site is built and the way it's constructed so that it is consistent and follows certain rules so that the search engines, when they go through your site, consume your site in a very consistent way. Basically, it involves separation of content and style. You shouldn't have your style elements buried into your website. It makes your website hard to maintain. It makes your website difficult to understand from a computer point of view. It's not that they can't do it, they do it, but you're just making it hard. Structured content, no superfluous tags, styles, all that's in the style sheet, and you help the search engines that way. Not a lot. I mean, you might add a 0.1% to whatever it is they're doing, but hey, why not? And on top of that, it helps you maintain things. It helps you probably more than it helps the search engine in terms of how you maintain your website. And SEO has to do a lot with maintenance. It has to do with coming back regularly and doing these kinds of things to your site, these tasks for on-site SEO. Now let's look at it from the search engine's perspective. Let's pretend we're a search engine, because that's how we have to think when we approach this. We have to think from a search engine's perspective. First of all, and I don't already have it here, remember search engine's primary purpose has nothing to do with you. It has to do with selling ads. That's their job, that's how they make money. You're an afterthought, other than you support that task. The task of attracting advertisers and selling ads. So when Google does something, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with what they can do to get a client to buy the ad. So the client buys the ad if they can say that they've got this many eyeballs that are going to land on that topic. And that many eyeballs landing on that topic gives a value to that search term, which then they can sell the ad. That's their job. It has nothing to do with you. So you keep that in. So, you want your customers to be able to, your ad buyers, to be able to know that people are going to be seeing them when they hit when they search for certain results. And if those users find those results and are happy, they'll keep coming back and they'll see more ads. So you have to deliver relevant results. You have to provide good value to these eyeballs that are coming to your site so that they keep coming back and see the ads. You have to be very careful that there's no deception, that your users don't get, that the users that come to your site don't feel deceived, don't feel frustrated, and feel like they're always getting value. Okay? And they come back if they get what they want quickly, and they find quality results, and again, they don't find themselves clicking and not finding what they want. About 4 or 5 years ago, Google started having a real serious problem. And that is, their search results were becoming garbage. Really bad. The first page, none of it was relevant to what you were searching for practically. I usually had to go to the 3rd or 4th page before I could find what I was looking for. And Google was starting to realize that, ooh, something's going on. Something is stuffing our search results so badly that it no longer was relevant to what our users are looking for. And that, I guess, Panda was born. Panda was the defense of that. And that is how they tried to change the game. And of course, all those people out there scream bloody murder because Google said, wait a minute, you're messing up our business. Okay, therefore, ease of indexing sites is something we want to do. We want to make sure we provide quality content. We want to make sure that our anchor texts in our site describe where it's going so that Google can properly display it. We want to make sure our content is unique so when somebody clicks it, they feel like they found something new and not the same old thing over and over again, which then would cause them to give up and walk away because, you know, if you click the first 3 links and you basically get the same thing, you know, you're going to be frustrated as a user. And so that gets people to stay on your website. Happy users mean that they're going to be able to sell more ads. Okay, I talked about Panda. So now we're going to look at how Panda changed the game. Basically, they went after all the things that were turning the search results into garbage. Scraper sites, what they did is they hired a bunch of people. They'll call them quality, what do they call them? Quality raters, yeah, they call them quality raters, and these people sat down and looked at different websites and using a bunch of metrics, tried to decide what a good website looked like. Okay? And they focused on questions like trustworthiness, credibility, quality, and value of content. Those were just some of the parameters that they were giving these raters. Then,
You say, what are scraper sites? I mean, I think I have a sense of it, but I want to.
yeah, they scrape off stuff from other websites and then present it as their own.
Plagiarism.
Yeah.
Without any credit to the originator.
Do you mean that's automatic?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's very easy for me in computer language and to go to a site, grab all the HTML, and then represent it. It's extremely easy. Yeah, for a programmer, it's like child's play.
But is that the same thing as deception? Because once in a while, for instance, I make a mistake on a URL, like missing a letter or something, and I find myself in a website that, oh, this looks a slightly different, but it's.
People do that on purpose.
Is that scraper or is that a different
No,
name
that's
for
the
deception?
phishing kind of.
Deception.
It is a deception, yeah. There are people out there, and then when you land there, they upload a Trojan or a virus onto your machine, and away you go. Life is good.
And you become a relay for spam and whatever else they can push through your machine.
Okay, so these quality raters tried to turn all of these questions into metrics, numbers, and signals. And then Google tried to take all of that and turn it into what they called a machine learning process that tried to mimic what those people were doing sitting down at their computers. So what this led to was a new way of hopefully forcing SEO people and websites and marketing to look at their website. To look at it in terms of what is the user experience. And will somebody share this site, and how do they feel like they trust what they're seeing on the site? That trustworthiness. Yes.
How does Google know that people are sending links to a site to somebody else by email? You know, you see a site, you like it, you copy the URL, send it to a friend in an email. Does Google
It doesn't know that, but if you share it on Facebook or Twitter, then Google will know that. So, yeah. Yeah. They suck that, just like you can go on Twitter and suck a feed down, they can do that too.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be a link that you place on your own website to another website. If you're sharing, like you say, on Facebook or Twitter.
If you're sharing it public, they can't they can't see your email in that sense, of course, unless you're using Google Mail.
Yeah, that's why I wondered how they.
Yeah.
Then they can see it.
However, the NSA can see your email.
But I don't think they're rating websites, yes.
All right.
Let's talk about this now. If he was using a CRM or a type of autoresponder, sending it to track it, does that change the results?
No, only because your autoresponder is not necessarily public,
I see.
and therefore Google can't get a feed of it.
Okay, so that's more internal. You can track what's going on with you, but
Right.
not Google. They're not seeing anything.
Yeah, they're not seeing it until you put it out on a public space,
Got it.
like Twitter or Facebook or.
Right. Okay.
So would you say what Google is doing is, it is good for the, I don't know about the customer part, but the end user? Are they trying to crack down on all of this dishonesty? So that just a good, honest person could actually just do a good, honest job, or is there something else?
The end result probably is that, but what Google is after is they want to make sure that their people that they're selling ads to will want to buy those ads, because the people that come to those pages, for whatever reason,
Okay.
are coming and coming back and coming
Okay.
back and coming back so that they can buy their ads.
So it's like some sort of, just say, it's some sort of a medical topic, and on the right, the paid ads, so this, Google doesn't care about whatever your medical expertise is, they wanna know that other medical people selling stuff,
That's where the money is.
that's what
It's
it's
the selling the ads.
So they actually don't really care whether.
They care about the quality of that because that brings people back.
Okay, that's it.
It's
Quality
like
and
having-
trustworthiness.
It's kind of like if you had a restaurant in which the primary purpose was your store where you sold products, and having the restaurant was just to get people to come, and if you had lousy food, nobody would come, and therefore
Right,
they wouldn't
okay,
walk into your
okay.
store. But if they really liked your food and you had a line outside the door to come in to buy your food,
Yeah.
and you put the store so they had to walk through that first, then you would sell more of the thing you really were trying to sell.
Okay,
So
thanks.
that's kind of what Google's doing.
Legitimate.
Oh, you're not gonna go to sleep on me. Well, I didn't click that fast enough, did I?
Yeah, you were about 10 seconds too late, I think.
Oh, man. Wake up.
I'm not gonna take video of that.
Keep you on your toes.
I know, keep going here.
I have a Facebook account.
Okay.
And there's your desktop.
Okay, so, let's make sure we didn't miss something in all that. Yeah, no, we didn't. Okay, so, page 3 on Panda. So Google would like you to be more of a web strategist. Okay, that's what they would really like, because it's not just what's on your page, it's not how your page is structured and how you're trying to get rankings, it's the quality of your content, it's people finding and having a good user experience, wanting to come back and wanting to share what you're doing, and that's how they measure the value. So you, as an individual website owner, want to design a good user experience. You want to have good content that's easy to use. You want to have it structured so people feel they can find what they want to find easily on your website, so they will bounce around and get what they want. And there are minimal kinds of ads in terms of getting in the way of that content. Ads are fine, they're not against ads. It's just that, have you ever gone to a site where you can't tell where the content is? Well, that's exactly what Google doesn't want. When the website comes up and you have to scroll down to find the content, that's something Google wants to slam down. They want your content to be obvious and clear, right there. The ads need to be less conspicuous in terms of finding that content. The ads are not the primary purpose of your website, even though you may think they're the primary purpose of your website. Okay, so literally, and if you follow Matt Cutts, and if you're really into SEO, you need to follow Matt Cutts. So take Matt Cutts and follow him, read everything he says. One of the things they're trying to do is really come down hard on overuse of ads above the fold. So that's the first thing you see when you go to a page, is too much ads and placed so that the content isn't presented properly. And that's what they're trying to come down on. So there's a lot of posts on that. Also, with Panda, it's about your whole website having quality, not just one page. Before SEO, people used to concentrate on making one page really strong. They called it SEO juice and things like that. And everybody would come to that really strong page and then they would go to, no. Panda's about your whole website being high quality. And literally, if you have some bad junk pages, they can drag your whole ranking down. So they're looking at your whole website. And make sure that the content is oriented toward people. We're talking about interesting, humorous, fun, engaging, all those kinds of things. You're trying to get people to respond to your content. Means they'll go share. They're going to, do all this stuff that Google can watch. Google can watch that and then use that to rate.
What do you mean by not bots? I mean, I think
Okay, bots is computers going in and reading just your content, and just reading the code. Okay,
which is what Panda does in a way, but
yeah, Panda does it, but it's trying to mimic a person.
they're trying to read people, not.
They're trying to find,
filter that.
yeah, they're trying to find ways so that they can appear to be a person looking at your website. Okay. What they're looking at is time spent relative to similar sites. They're comparing you to similar sites. That's how they kind of rate you. They're looking at browsing versus bouncing. How long do you stay? Do you click through? The click-through rate means, do you land on a page and do you leave, or do you land on a page and you click through? Those kind of things tell them that they are finding something interesting. So I'm just giving you some clues on how they're doing this, okay, is all I'm doing. It's much more complex than this. I'm just giving you some ideas of how the machine does this by watching. Your traffic, is your traffic diverse? There are companies out there that literally have a bot that goes to your site and keeps hitting it to create hits. And people sell that. And Google watches it, oh, you just got all these hits from one IP address. Sorry, no good. So diversity and quality, and then how relative is that to sites of yours that are similar to yours, of your business? If it's unusually high based on other sites like yours, they're going to suspect something's going on, okay? And they're going to slap you down for that. So they're looking for averages, that like, are you like similar sites? And you get rated within that. That's just what that's how a machine has to try to figure this out. Okay, up till now, Panda has been an kind of offline process that they do to the data. And then every month or so, or 20 days or 30 days, they take that process and they put it into their current indexing and algorithm ranking scheme. So it was done kind of off to the side, and then it was fed in, because it was very intense. Okay. With this last update, it was probably going to start being incorporated into the core of their indexing. So you're going to see much faster results. Before, if you did some neat things to your site that you thought Panda would like, you didn't see results for like a month. And all of a sudden, boom, and you woke up. They're starting to incorporate that into their core indexing process, so they say. Okay? With this last refresh, supposedly this is going to be the last refresh. It's refresh number 25.
Sure.
And from here on, I mean, it isn't that they're not going to do more refresh. Now, what are they doing on these refreshes? What they're doing is they're fine-tuning how they do all of the stuff I just was talking about. And finding little ways of getting clues of how people are rating. And they go back to quality raters and have them do it again. So they keep going back to people and then trying to come back around and see if what they're doing with their machine is, it's kind of like modeling weather. Does the weather model really mirror the reality? And so that's what they keep doing. They're looking at what their results are and then looking at what people how people would rank those same websites. The targets, what they're gonna keep working on is, they're gonna keep looking at site weights, not page centric. They're gonna keep looking at and penalizing over optimization, people that appear to be doing way too much and not looking at the quality of their site, but trying to optimize for ranking only.
Excuse me, could you optimize it? Could you just say a little more about that?
Sure. Prior to Panda, one of the things that people used to do was, they used to, so many things. One of the, like for example, they would put keywords in every paragraph so that it didn't really read very well. I mean, you read it and you go, whoa, who wrote that? Because there's a keyword in every sentence, you know, and imagine taking one really powerful word and using it in every sentence. After a while, you wouldn't read very well, okay? They would stuff the meta tag with a whole bunch of keywords. They would create phony backlinks to their site out on some indexing farm out there so it looked like 1 million people wanted to come to their site. They would do all these things that would appear to make them really look popular. That's over optimization.
I used to be one of those people who did the keyword stuffing, but you know, as a writer, my job was to make it seem like natural language, but I'd get the keywords in there lots and lots of times.
They
At
call
some
it
point-
keyword density.
Yes, yes, thank you. And they used to have a algorithm that measured keyword density, and if you went over a certain point, then they would penalize you, you know. Can you tell us at some point today what's going on with search terms today?
Well,
with
yeah,
Panda?
yeah, we're gonna go into the
Good.
keyword research part
Okay,
later, and where we're gonna be talking about actually doing keyword research, which is kind of
Thank
the
you.
core of on-site SEO. I'm just trying to prep your mind here, you know, get you in the right frame here. Okay, Penguin, this is just the one slider on Penguin. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on Penguin. This is what Penguin's about. It's about enforcing the Webmaster Guidelines. You can go to Google and look at the Webmaster Guidelines and read them for yourself. Google is telling you exactly what they want. They're not trying to be sneaky. They've got a whole document that says, this is what we want you to do. Do this, and life is good. Okay? That seems pretty easy. Of course, there's a lot of stuff there. It's really a long document. But the point is, they're not trying to be secretive. And some of the things that, well, yes,
where do you get these webmaster guidelines?
go to Google, Webmaster Guidelines, and
Just Google it.
and Google it.
Google
And they will come right up, because Google is gonna say, oh, you wanna see the guidelines. It's probably gonna be the very first one on the search results.
You could Bing it too, but
Yes, Webmaster Guidelines, and you'll be there. Some of the things that these guidelines really discourage you from doing is keyword stuffing, cloaking, which means hiding things on your website so they can't be seen by people, but the bots can see them. Linked spam schemes, where you're out there stuffing links and doing all kinds of things like that. Deliberately duplicating your content. Any manipulative or spammy technique, and there's hundreds of them out there. Just go to any SEO forum and you can see people talking about all these techniques. And they're talking about them less because Google's really slamming down.
When you're talking about deliberate duplicate content, are you saying, you know, you take the content from one page and put it on 3 other pages as well, or?
And it's like taking your article and publishing it in several different article places. So it's the
Oh,
exact same
okay.
article and having it point back to you, but it's duplicate. Well, then there's a bunch of software coming out they called spinning, who would take articles and spin them. So that it was the same article, but you can get 20 different versions. You should see the garbage that these things produce.
Oh,
But
I can
it had all the
imagine. It
keywords. Yeah, it worked.
It worked for a long time.
Oh, yeah, it did. It worked really well.
that
All
was
this
the problem.
all this stuff worked, which is why Google had to get down on it.
And it made the searches worthless to us.
And
Yeah.
they are adding a lot of these things to help you into their webmaster tools. So their webmaster tools reflects their guidelines. Webmaster Tools tries to direct you in the right direction.
Now, is that another white paper that Google has, is Webmaster Tools?
That's a
Or-
tool, that's literally a tool, it's called Webmaster Tools, it's part of
Okay.
their, go to, start off with your keyword tool, which is part of your AdSense, get an AdWord account,
Mhm.
even though you're not gonna buy an ad maybe, ever.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to use the keyword tool, and then open up a Webmaster Tools account, and link the two together so that they share back and forth, and you'll be good to go.
Okay.
Now, at some point, you may then wanna buy some other, third-party tools to help you with certain areas. Okay, but start with the free, get started, it'll teach you a lot. It'll help you evaluate the paid tools later on, what really is gonna be useful to you. Okay, let's go back and look at the core basics. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. On your page, you have titles and descriptions. We're gonna talk about keyword tips, image tips, and content tips. Okay? Titles and descriptions. Now notice I didn't talk about, I'm not talking about the keyword meta tag anymore. Google doesn't look at that anymore. It's gone. It's still there if you wanna put stuff in there for your own bookwork. In other words, you put it there because it's there to remind you what you're targeting this page for. But Google doesn't look at it anymore because the keyword stuffers abused it so badly that Google doesn't trust it at all anymore. They just said, we're not looking at it anymore, sorry. I think that's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. Title and description should be unique for your website, should contain the words that you have decided on your own are your keywords off to the side. And it should be descriptive of the actual content. Google should see a relationship between your title and description and your content. They should have similar words from their bot's point of view. In other words, if your title talks about the ocean and then your content talks about the desert, that's a disconnect, okay? And Google's gonna go, what? I don't see anything in the title in your content, okay? That's a disconnect. So there has to be consistency on all of those. And you say, well, why wouldn't somebody do that? Well, people who want to get you to come to their site for other purposes will do that. So that's why. You want to make sure you don't accidentally get those out of sync. And make sure your content is actually described. Now, Google does not use the description for ranking. So why would you bother doing a good description? Well, Google does use it to display in their results. That's that little paragraph, that little short sentence underneath the title. Wouldn't you want to control that and actually put there what you want your user to see? So you're really doing it for yourself. So that Google, and if you don't do it, then Google's going to look in your content and grab something out of there that it thinks is meaningful. Yes?
I know you know this. Sometimes they ignore your description and choose something they think is more descriptive of what's on that page.
Yep. Oh yeah, they will do that.
Yeah, they'll change your title too sometimes.
Yeah, they're getting really, really crafty now, yeah.
Their house, their rules.
That's right, that's right. But you're trying to help them as much as you can. And what that would be is a kind of a red flag. Maybe you need to go back and look
Exactly.
at it and see, hey, I must not be syncing these right. That would be,
So can you override that by going back in and changing it?
yeah, kind of. You do a better job and Google will probably use it. Google is telling you you're not doing a very good job from their algorithm's point of view. So that's kind of like a wake-up call for you to go back and rethink your title and description and see if you can do a better job. Okay? Keyword tips. And we're going to get the keyword research in a few minutes. But these are some tips. Keywords consist of words and word phrases that describe what's on your website. You need to stick to what I call simple words. Don't get too long, too complex. Don't use $15 million words. Use words that the average person will understand. Don't try to show how illiterate you are. Because people aren't going to type those things into the search engine. They're going to type in words that are of common language. So that's what I mean by simple. Consider what people will type into the search. You've got to pretend you're your users. What would they search? and you will be surprised how you don't know what they're gonna type in. So that's where the research comes in. Consider misspellings. Sometimes if your business or what you do gets misspelled easily, consider the misspellings and how you do it. Try to think of words that are unique to your business. And of course, most importantly, we're gonna do the keyword research.
And one question, going back to the previous slide, when you're talking about titles and descriptions that are unique for your website, if you're putting up just a general website, basically to get a portfolio up, you have an About Us section. Everybody has an About Us section, so it's not really unique.
But you're probably not gonna index that per se.
Okay,
See,
okay,
that's not gonna be considered a landing page.
no,
Okay,
okay.
yeah. We'll get that to the keyword research. We're gonna decide what your landing pages are, which pages, and you can literally tell Google not to index a page.
Ah,
And say, hey, I don't want you to index this page. Leave it alone. This is not important. My users will see it, they will like it. Now, Google will probably index it anyway, but, you know, you're intentionally telling them to kind of leave it alone as much as they possibly can, because you don't consider it important from that point of view, as a place where users are gonna land and enter your website. Images. Make sure the images that are actually in your web page, in your content, we're not talking about the borders and the fancy filigree and all of that stuff. We're talking about the images that are really part of your content. Think of images as content, okay? And because of that, you need to also tell them what that image is, so that it can relate it to the content. See, so Google can tie that image to a place in your content. So you need to use the alt tag, and in the alt tag, put enough description in there, enough words in there, that it can then look at your content and say, okay, that image belongs right here. So when it's searching and indexing and wants to show that image, and somebody clicks that image, then it will come to your website and land in that part of your content. Yes?
So is that really like, so when you go and you do a search, so you know, up at the top of Google, you can do search by web, search by images or whatever. So if you've got a picture that's a picture of Miami Beach, when you type in Miami Beach, because you're searching, it'll read that image, and that will then make that website tend to pop up because you've identified the picture as,
Yeah,
so that's what's doing that.
that's part of the process,
Yeah.
right? You're helping Google use your image, which then will point back to you, hopefully, and the way you go. Yeah.
This is another portfolio question. My website mostly is a portfolio of my work, obviously. So if I do have alt tags on there, but they would say something like, ad for Sony Electronics created by Al Lefcourt. Ad for Pro Flowers created by Al Lefcourt. If they see my name popping up over and over again, these alt tags, are they gonna consider it stuffing? You know, or like get downgraded for that?
That's a good question. I really don't know, but I would also include in those alt tags something a little more descriptive about your picture. Okay. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But you gotta remember that Google wants to look at your pictures as content, and therefore it has to have meaning and tied to content. Okay, it's not just a pretty picture. So you need to think more of it as data, not just a picture.
Okay, thanks, good advice.
And then there's a structure. Once you think about it, it's fairly obvious. Your content, your written content should have a structure. Titles, subtitles, and those are H1, H2, H3 tags. That's how you structure your content. People can get careless and start using H1 and H2 and H3 tags for styling. And they suddenly have H1 tags floating all over the place and H2 tags because I made my H2 tags be bold and in the center, and so I want it to be bold in the center here and here and here. So suddenly they've got these tags. So don't use them that way. Use a span instead. Use some other tag thing to do that. But make sure that your H1 and H2 tags are part of your content structure. But don't abuse those tags. it's pretty common now, most of your tools handle this pretty well, like WordPress and whatnot. So it's just something you should be aware of if you happen to be writing content that you paste in there. Keep it consistent. Keyword research. Okay, this is the real foundation of everything. Keyword research is a two-way street. You find words that people are typing in, then you go back and you find out what words they really are typing in, then you come back to your website and see if you are kind of going that direction because you want what people are typing in. For example, if you are trying to optimize to the word computers, yeah, good luck.
Good luck, yeah.
But the problem that you're going to have is very few users are going to type computers in the search. They're going to type in something is broken, or they're going to talk about something specific about computers, but they may not ever use the word computers. So you've got to think like a user. So typically users are trying to solve a problem or fill a need. So those are the kind of words you want to think of in terms of your website. Solving a problem or filling a need. So make sure your keywords are oriented toward that. The process. You want to identify your landing pages. Where do you want people to learn? It will probably be the large percentage of your website. Okay? It really should be, otherwise why did you make the page? But you will have pages like your contact form. You don't want to, that's not a landing page. Maybe your About Us page might or might not be a landing page. You may have a thank you page. If somebody fills out your form and they thank you, you don't want necessarily that to be a landing page. So you need to think about what parts of your website are landing pages. Where do you want people to actually come to if they type something in? It used to be that SEO people used to optimize one page, and that was like the landing page. Google doesn't want you to do that anymore. They want you to think of your whole site. The majority of your site is being landing pages. Okay, then you go to your keyword tool, that's your AdWord keyword tool, and you check popularity. Okay, you're looking for high search, low competition, high searches, and actually a high value. There's 3 numbers across there, and the last one is the value, what people pay for that. So you want high value too. Okay? Yes.
What keyword tool?
Go to AdWords, Google AdWords, create an account, don't buy anything, and then one of the things when you create your account will be the keyword tool. It'll be right there for you to use. Okay? Then you want to do some competitive analysis. Another free tool that you can install on your Firefox is called SEO Quake. You can go to a website, turn SEO Quake on, and it will do all kinds of analysis on your competitor. What their ranking is, what keywords are they using, optimizing for, all kinds of fun stuff. And you're going to use that to come up with more keywords. Now, there are also tools like Uber Suggest. That's one word, ubersuggest.org. That will also come up with more words for you. So right now you're fishing for keywords, okay?
Is that a plugin?
Yes, it's a plugin. It's a Firefox plugin.
Or Chrome.
A Chrome too? No. Okay. It's a Chrome plugin too. I don't use Chrome, so. That's
That's
good.
where all it is, Google Chrome, right?
Yeah. That will help you find more keywords. Then you want to finalize your list by actually testing those words, actually typing those words in and see what you get. See if it's relevant to you. See if you really want to compete in that area. In other words, you're actually going to look at what the results are. Sometimes you will find that all the results have nothing to do with your business. Then you got to ask yourself, do I want to be, is this keyword really good enough that I want to compete here and try to be the one person who sells that for this keyword? Or is this just way out of league for me and I just need to move on? That's your own little call. And then you loop back up to here and you go round and around and around until you're happy. And
And then you go back again.
then you go back 6 months later and you do it again, and then you go back. Of course, obviously, it takes less time because you have the core list. But you should be doing this like once a quarter, once every 6 months, once a year. You have to decide for your business how fast that's changing, but this is a process you're gonna do over and over again. Because users change, the types of users, and what they're looking for change, the world changes, and what people are after changes, so you have to keep up with that change. Then, and this is the hardest part, you go back to your website and see if you really are doing that. If somebody typed in that search word and they landed on that page, would they really see that? Would they be happy with what they typed in and what they found on your website? If the answer is no, then you have to decide either not to optimize for that keyword or make some changes on your website. Probably a good idea if you oftentimes opt to make some changes in your website, because these are what real people are typing in. You don't want to be optimizing to some fantasy that you made up in your mind is why you're doing your website. You want to realign your website to what the world is looking for. Okay? So that's the next the next step, so to speak. Expectations. Oh, we gotta hurry up. 5 more minutes and I gotta stop. No guarantees. You've got a budget. Budget either your time or money to pay somebody else to do this. That's your budget. Remember, this is a race to the top, and you've got to keep doing it. Somehow you've got to build this into how you do your business. This is a process you're going to keep doing and doing and doing. So mark out some time and keep doing it. It'll get a little less once you get into the hang of it. You may find some tools as you go along that helps you speed it up for you. So you'll get more efficient, and that's all good. SEO is war, is a phrase that you hear out there. Matter of fact, there's a forum, SEO forum, it's called the War Room, the Warriors. So, positive factors are popularity, link quality, trustworthy. Negative things that are going to hurt you, manipulative, link brokers and sellers, and all those things are going to hurt you. So, we've already kind of talked about that. Okay, spam. There's a lot of it out there. Here's some red flags you need to look at. If they tell you they're going to guarantee your rankings, or thousands of search engines, I don't know how they managed to do that. There's only 3 search engines that are of any relevance to you. Where they get thousands, I have no idea. Or maybe 4 if you wanted to really stretch it. But guaranteed traffic, that's how they get those bots that run and hit your site 1 million times. You know, that's guaranteed traffic. Link farms is a place where they stuff a bunch of links to point back to you. Google's really slamming down on that, so that would really be a bad thing to do. They might tell you they have proprietary techniques. Sorry. You can look it up on the web anywhere. It's out there. There's no proprietary techniques. Insider information, you're going to find most Google insiders will tell you even they don't really know everything Google's doing. So how would somebody really know what Google is doing? Unless you're Matt Cutts, and I don't think Matt Cutts is on your back pocket. Some sites will set up contracts where they end up owning your content. That's a really bad one. Yeah. And of course, email. If somebody starts email soliciting you, that's kind of a red flag too. Okay.
They become instant spam in my book.
Okay, what do you do next? Oh, I made it. Went over a little bit, but oh well. A lot of stuff here. What do you do next? We've done the on-site. We've talked about what you've got to do on-site. Off-site's next, and that's what we're going to be coming to in the next couple of presentations. We're going to be hitting some of this. We're going to be talking about social activity, Google Plus, Facebook, inbound links, and the value of inbound links, and then of course the human engagement where you have likes, +1s, tweets, and comments. So once you finish your on-site SEO, you've done about 25% of the work. You've still got 75% to go. Okay?
Quick question.
Yes.
Now, as far as Panda, is it also going to be something worth guarding against those social media sites that are paying you know, pretty good amount of money to get the thousands of likes, for example, or Twitter's followers for, you know, a substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
And those India companies or whatever that created those accounts to like it.
I think Google's gonna try real hard to figure that out, yes.
Okay. That's my thoughts.
Here's my personal opinion, okay? I see this whole SEO marketing thing as three groups. Group number one is all your scammers, okay? Group 2 and 3 are fairly honest people trying to do a good job. So, those are good people. But group number 2 of this group is trying to find ways to game the system. They're trying to find a little trick that, boom, boosts their customers. Google may not like that trick later on and slap them down. So those people are kind of dangerous, even though they're well-intentioned and they're trying to do the job and they're trying to impress their customers and they're being honest about it, and that's what they're doing, and I understand that. Then the last group are the group that says, what does Google want? Let's stick with Google. Let's read their guidelines, let's follow their guidelines, and that's it. We just have to trust that. That's where I come from, personally. And I think there you're gonna have lasting quality. You're not gonna get up there as fast, but you're never gonna get slammed down. You know, what you gain, you get to keep, for the most part.
Kind of the tortoise and hare scenario.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind
So
of.
that's where I'm gonna come back to SEO is a very slow, constant game. You're gonna be in the internet world, this is what you've gotta do. As the song says, get over it. Yes.
Do you have a good book or something you could recommend that's like, that says all these steps, like 1, 2, 3,
Yes,
4,
there's
5?
an ebook that's attached to this that I'm gonna be putting on the meetup group that goes through all this and more. And it goes through the steps much more detail and adds more stuff.
It's gonna be on your meetup?
It's gonna be on the meetup. That's where you signed up for this. In the discussion area, I'll be posting this video along with an ebook.
I might mention that there are ebooks covering each of the topics that
Right.
have been
And
covered
they're always
here.
posted in the discussion area if you wanna go back and look at the old ones, yes.
Well, just for somebody with a small business, okay, there's just so much hype about engagement and all of this with the social media, and I see that it is important, but, I mean, realistically, I mean, how many people can be engaging with all this stuff all the time and have a life and do anything else? I mean, just, you know, engagement, like just because somebody makes a, you know, asking all these ridiculous questions and, you know, like,
You need another book for that.
no, it's just,
I totally understand what you're saying. Many years ago, when we were just marketing locally here, and belonged to all the chambers in North County, we had to go to every sundowner, and
Right.
every conference, and every expo, and believe me, that took a lot of time.
Okay, and now it was worth it because you're done and you only go to
No,
the
no,
field?
no, I mean, but that took time,
Yeah,
and it took time from doing what you thought was your business.
yeah.
That's marketing.
So how much do you spend for your own, you know, whatever business, not for your clients, but just for your own business and personal use, like a week? Do you do it's just an hour a day or?
Well, actually, fortunately for me, my wife retired from teaching, and now she does it.
Okay,
She spends 30 hours a week doing this.
okay, just for your own stuff,
30 hours a week.
okay. Getting lots of engagement,
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're working on it. It's a slow process.
okay,
Matter of fact, a lot of what I presented you today is stuff that she has gone through and re-researched, and I've updated the whole book based on like 3 or 4 months of research of doing this 30 hours a week.
Okay, so
It's not a get
you
rich
do
quick.
have a new ebook for this
The ebook's
session?
brand new, yeah.
Okay, it's not up yet?
and this
No.
has nothing to do
Okay.
with all that.
But it will be up the next week or two.
Okay, cause I downloaded the one that was up
You get a website,
last night,
you almost have to have somebody to-
so I'll have to re-download it, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
next. Next month, we're going to do WordPress SEO. We're gonna look at all the tools that help you do this stuff, okay? So we're gonna follow up with WordPress SEO tools and the kind of tools you would use to do a lot of this stuff on your WordPress site. And then the month after that, we're gonna start a 1, 2, or 3 session, 3-part on Google+. We're gonna do a very in-depth thing of Google Plus. We're gonna spend at least 2 sessions, maybe 3. It depends on how much material I come up with and how much I can squeeze it in. Yeah.
Are you seeing Google Plus being that wanting to take over Facebook kind of a thing?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I think you have to decide which is gonna best fit your business.
Okay.
That's the key right there. I do think that if you're not doing Google Plus, then what are you doing on the internet?
Right.
Because,
I hear you.
because Google is going to be looking at Google Plus, I mean, right away. I mean, we're seeing that, we do a post on Google Plus and boom, we're up at the top for that, right away. I mean, Google is watching you
Right.
on Google Plus, so why wouldn't you?
Yeah. I
Well,
agree.
Now, if you have a business that really relates to Facebook type things or Twitter type things, then you should be doing that too. But you should definitely, that's why we're doing Google Plus first, because everybody should be doing something there.
Google Plus is more business oriented, whereas Facebook is more personal oriented anyway.
Yeah, Google Plus is oriented toward Google watching you share stuff so they can rank you.
Okay.
And it helps.
It's fascinating stuff.
Yes, we're seeing very quick results on things we're doing on Google Plus. And we're still working on cracking Google Plus.
Yeah, if you've got all the authorship,
Yeah, there's a lot, and that's a hornet's nest right there. Yes.
Where is your business located, and do you sometimes speak to other groups?
I'll speak to any group.
Okay, good.
Yes, I'll speak to any group, and we're in North County. I'm actually, if you drive east until you get out of the country where you see very few houses and a lot of avocado trees and flower fields, you're probably getting close to where I live.
Okay. Oh, you're in Bonsall. So
I'm in Bonsall, yes.
And you work out of your home, kind of like.
We have a nice big office in our house that we work out of.
Make it
Since
easy
we're an
enough
internet
so that-
company,
So that there is actually.
it doesn't really matter where we're at.
Sure, you can.